A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace, the greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal Creator, Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukr to Allah, I'm alive and well, spiritually stronger than ever, and I'm really grateful that I have experienced and continue to experience an expansion of Allah awareness. And so I want you to understand that you can experience a greater level of awareness, Allah awareness, and it begins with an intention. That if you have an intention to experience a greater level of awareness of Allah, then you will be supported in becoming more aware, of Allah. So, you always hear people saying, Allah give me this, Allah give me that, Allah, give me. You know what I mean? But people don't want to claim. Generally people don't want to participate and claim what's possible for them. People want Allah to do things for them, but they don't really want to do things for themselves, And so Allah will not do for you what He has given you the ability to do for yourself. You know what I mean? You got to brush your teeth. You got to keep yourself clean. Allah has given you that capacity to benefit yourself in that way. You can be more caring of yourself, of your body, your life. But you must want to first, experience that that physical health or that physical hygiene. You must want to be hygienic. You must know there's a thing called being hygienic or being healthy, physically hygienic and physically healthy. And you must intend that, I want to, I desire, I am interested in, I value, I'm committed to. You've got to claim. You've got to put your heart into things. You get what I mean? That I want to be healthy, I want to be more hygienic. And so that's not just physically, that's spiritually as well. You get what I mean? So you can become more physically healthier and hygienic by becoming aware of the body and what the body requires and what is good for the body and what is healthy for the body. You can become aware that the things that you can do, the doing of which for you, for your body, benefits your body. You can become aware of health and health consciousness. And you can support a health consciousness, and then you will become healthier. But people don't want to do that. The ignorant, the superstitious, the people who have not gained guidance, they're like, Allah, just give me health. Just give me health. I want to have nothing to do with my own experience of physical health, but give me health. Give me health. Like demanding. You know what I mean? But Allah has given us potentials and possibilities. Allah has given us potentials and possibilities to become more health conscious, to become more health aware, and to support being healthy and to support being hygienic. I'm not only talking about physically, but I'm giving you that example because you'll be able to see how people are like, Allah, give us good health, Allah, give us good health, Allah. You'll see people behaving like that. But they're not interested in supporting being health aware, or health conscious. They don't want to get information. They don't want to reason. The Quran is saying, eat halal, eat tayyib. This is good for you. Nah, Allah, you give me health, give me health. You understand? So, the same thing with Allah consciousness. You must want to experience Allah consciousness. You must want to be aware of Allah and experience, in your heart that security, that assurance. Verily in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. See, you must want. You can't say, Allah, make me more aware of you, make me, you know. And you just not playing any role, any positive role in your life. So anyway, I'm explaining to you that we all, as human beings, have been given a great favor. That the animals and the insects and the plants and the rocks and the stones, they don't have that favor, which is we can actually become aware of Allah, and we can experience Allah consciousness, and we can experience being believers, secure. You understand? The believer, the mu'min, is one who is secure. I have been telling you for the last many months of this year about my journey into being a believer, to being one who is secure, one who is more secure than I've ever been, one who is no longer insecure. Guidance has come to me, as the Quran says, when guidance comes to Adam and his family and the people of Adam, and those who receive it, they no longer will fear, and they no longer will grieve, they no longer will be insecure. When guidance comes, now most people, they don't want to become aware of what is guidance, and be aware of guidance. They just got brainwashed into blind following. Just do this, just like this, just like that, do this, do that, say this, say that, on such a day, at such a time, and say it so many times. The gurus and pandits are at it, with their religious... The gurus and pandits are at it, with the religious expertise. We'll tell you when to say what and how many times to say it, and at what time. We'll tell you, the gurus, right? And the pandits. But the Quran is guiding us to Allah consciousness. The Prophet ﷺ has guided us to Allah, to become aware of Allah, to be believers. Not just to be in a religious identity. Say, oh well, I eat halal. Muslim, we eat halal. But you know nothing of tayyib. Clueless, unaware. So a lot of people are unaware of the guidance of the Quran. They're unaware of guidance. They're unaware. If you're not aware of the guidance of the Quran, how can you be aware of Allah? The Quran and revelations before it, brought into human beings' awareness that which we were not aware of. Living lost in the mind with Satan, thinking we are real, thinking the world is real, no humility. We're living with arrogance. If you don't humble yourself before Allah, if you're not aware of the truth, that what you are, you'll think you really exist, like you always existed, like you'll always exist. You'll be shocked when the time comes to die, physically. You'll get a shock of your life. Whoa! I'm dying! Oh no! Now the Quran has guided us to prepare for our death. The Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to recognize that we will pass on. The Prophet Abraham and his children, Isaac and Ismail, and their children, Jacob, Yaqub, and his children, peace be upon them all, they're always like, do not die except as one who is submitted. Do not die except, we're all going to die, and it depends on the state from which you die. Submit, become aware, humble yourself, recognize your Creator. You see. Anyway, not everybody is interested in, people think they are interested, who wants to be rich? Everybody. Who wants to learn how to apply themselves so that they can add value and receive an income from it? Nobody. Who wants to apply themselves to get rich? Nobody. Who wants to get rich? Everybody. Who wants to go to heaven? Everybody. Who wants to get the guidance of the Quran and use it and apply it? We'll just follow what the Guru has told us. We'll just live unconsciously. See, everybody's unconscious until they become conscious. Everybody is Allah unconscious until they become Allah conscious. This is what the Quran is telling us. This is why you got to teach people so that they can behave humanely. And people who are not aware, they are insecure. Those who are aware, they can humble themselves and function. Those who are unaware, they malfunction. I mean, if you look at me and you look at other people, when guidance, we didn't receive the guidance, you can see human beings malfunctioning. Some of the things I describe, it's hilarious. If it wasn't so tragic, it would be hilarious. It would be funny if it wasn't so tragic how people operate. They are malfunctioning. They're not functioning as human beings. They are humans that are malfunctioning. People are malfunctioning. You look at people and how they live, they're malfunctioning. Because they are created beings who don't know that they are created beings. You got to know that you're a created being because you are one, and you got to know your Creator. And you got to have a relationship with your Creator for you to function well. You see, no human being can really function humanely if they are unaware of their Creator, if they're unaware that they are created beings, if they're unaware of their Creator, and if they don't have a relationship with their Creator, one of humility before God, if they haven't submitted their false self, their phantom self, if they don't humble themselves and recognize what they really are, who they really are, where they really are, what's going on here, then they malfunction. Human beings that are non-believers are malfunctioning. Now some of you will say, but we believe. As the Quran says, don't say that you believe if faith has not entered into your heart. Rather say, we are among those who are submissive in religion, but we do not believe. Do not say that you believe. So a believer is one who is Allah aware. Can anybody be a believer if they're not really Allah aware? The Quran says, to all people, among all people they are believers, because all people can become aware and humble themselves. They can become aware of a power because of whom we are, universal power. And what we are, first, are the creation of God. So not everybody has an intention to become more aware. People live unconsciously, unawarely. That's how they are. They worship Satan. When you worship Satan, you remain unconscious. And you can't see things clearly. That's when you don't play a constructive role with your Creator. You miss out on the opportunity of submitting. You miss out on the opportunity of experiencing security with your Creator. You miss out on the opportunity of knowing that you're okay, everything is okay, that what you are before anything else is a creation of Allah. You miss out on knowing your real identity. This is what I spoke to you about last week Friday. That you can become aware of your real identity. Before I'm a son, a father, a spouse, whatever, a teacher, before anybody can be any of those things, then, first we are a believer. First we are the creation of God, the created creation of God in the care of God. There's nothing we can do to cause us to be, or cause each other to be. My parent didn't cause me to be. They supported me in being, but they didn't cause me to be. I didn't cause my child to be. We can't cause our spouses to be, our siblings to be. We can't cause anything to be. Allah, who actually is the one cause. And Allah causes. Allah is the one cause and has caused us to come into existence. Our parents, us, our children, the world, everything in the world, in the created world. You get what I mean? Allah is the creator. Allah is the one power, universal, benevolent power. And we are His creation. We came into existence because of Him. And He has blessed us and benefited us. If you think you are a son or daughter first, or a husband or wife first, or a, child or a parent first, then you are lost. If you think you're your occupation, if you're a man or a woman first, if you are a South African first, if you're an Indian or whatever, first, or religious identity first, any identity and role that the humans play or identify with. If you think you are that first, you are lost. You don't know who you are, you don't know where you are, you don't know your Creator. You're not aware that what you are first is a creation of God, a favored creation of God, a blessed and benefited creation of God, a privileged creation of God. You see, it's about becoming aware that you are a privileged creation of God, that you are a favored creation of God. You created with status and standing. You created, supported in your satisfaction. You can enjoy satisfaction. I was pointing out to you that the animals and insects can't become Allah aware, and they cannot experience security. See, we can experience a state of peace, well-being, a state of okayness, a state of connection with our Creator that renders us uncontrolled by this world, and not trying to control this world. Through Allah awareness, I experience being free of being controlled by this world and trying to control this world. Through Allah awareness, I can experience being free no matter what is happening in my life. I'm not controlled by it. Or a parent's life, or a child's life, or a sibling's life, or a spouse's life, or in my life. I can remain peaceful. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance, reassurance, assurance of your satisfaction. You can feel good as a believer, knowing what you are, who you are, where you are, what's going on here. If you are inclining to truth like Abraham was, you can be a friend of Allah. Means your life is centered around Allah. Yes, you have parents and you'll be caring to them, but your life is centered around Allah, not your parents. And yes, you have children, but your life is not centered around them, it's centered around Allah. Your first relationship can be with Allah. A believer's first relationship is with Allah. We can be believing sons and daughters of our parents who have a first relationship with Allah, and then we can be caring to our parents. We can be believing parents having the first relationship with Allah, then we can be focused on our children. We can be believing business people and employers and employees, and then we can focus on the business or doing the work we do, or the profession we engaged in. You can be a man, a husband, but first you can be a believing man or a believing woman. Then you can focus on your husband, your spouse, your wife. You understand? Not everybody wants to submit their identification with their body, mind, with their role and identities. Not everybody wants to submit and become aware of what they are really, where they are, what's going on here. That human beings are all lost until you receive the guidance. People don't want to hear that. People are not interested in being guided. Hearts are diseased. So I'm interested in submission before my Creator. I'm interested in Allah awareness. I value guidance. And guidance has guided me to claim refuge. Through the guidance, Allah has guided us to claim refuge with Him. Allah is calling us back. Allah is telling us that He did nothing bad or wrong to humanity and never will. That humanity has actually turned its back towards Allah. That Allah gave humanity guidance. Don't eat of that tree. And even after Adam and Eve ate of the tree, Allah says guidance will come to you and your people. Those who receive it will no longer be insecure. See, Allah created us to be aware and to experience security. And when we ate of the tree of the knowledge, the mind and all that story, drama, shame, guilt and all that, we stopped being aware and we created problems. Unaware people create problems. We create the problem of being unaware and then we live from being unaware. You know what I mean? You're insecure and you live from being insecure, then all you're looking for is relief, safety and excitement. And you live in the world unaware and non-experiencing, and you're looking to avoid feeling bad, and you're living your life controlled with guilt, shame, unworthiness, fear, and thinking, as long as I got a job, I'm okay. As long as I got somebody to take care of me, I'm okay. As long as I'm taking care of other people, I'm okay and they're okay. And you're denying Allah, who alone is the one who causes and continues us, and who cares for us and considers us all, and not only causes us and cares for us and continues us and considers us. Allah champions us, calls us back, come back, come back. Remember, release that false identity, come back to peace, come back to assurance, wake up, remember. Start seeing clearly. Become aware that there really is only Allah. Allah alone actually exists. The real. Who created us. We don't exist as real. There's no Allah and us. There's only Allah. And we are His creation and His care. When you accept the guidance, you no longer think you're special or anybody in the world is special. You realize there's only one that is special. It's Allah. And we are temporary beings in a temporary world. That we have come into existence. Yes, we'll continue beyond our death and beyond, but we've come into existence. Our sense of self has come into existence. We can become aware of the fact that we are created beings in a created world, that we were not and now we are. The Quran says, how can you not believe, seeing that you are not? How can you not believe, seeing that you are not? And now you are. I was having some lychees yesterday. My mom sent me 2 trays from Durban. Apparently they're not having a good season, but I was grateful for the 2 trays, lychees. And I looked at this and saying, we don't see it outside of season here in South Africa. Then in season we see it. It wasn't and now it is. This thing came into existence. How Allah, creates these things for us. We'll be like, what do you mean Allah created? We planted the seed and it grows on trees. People's limited awareness. They don't understand that fruit is there by design, because Allah willed it and because it's for us, like every other blessing of Allah. People are unaware of Allah and they're unaware of the abundant blessings of Allah. They look but they can't see. The Quran says deaf, dumb and blind, they are. They're unconscious. It matters not whether you warn them or caution them or not. They can't hear you. Most people, they are so lost in their ego identities and roles, thinking they have always been, thinking the world will always be. They don't know that there is the death that is coming and there is the afterlife. They don't know. So Allah awareness, you see, the more you become aware of Allah, you become aware that you are temporary in this world, and you are only because Allah is merciful and kind, and He gave you the ability to be aware of Him, and He's good for you, and He gave you the ability to be thankful, and as you are thankful, you get more. What is awareness? It's gratitude. What is gratitude? It's awareness. Can you be grateful if you are unaware? Can you be thankful if you're unaware? See? So you can't really be thankful to Allah for what He has given to you if you're not really aware of Allah. This is why, non-thankfulness or ingratitude or being ungrateful in Arabic is called kafuran. And a denier of Allah is called kuffar. The same root word, K-F-R. Kuffar and kafuran. When you are unappreciative, you are unaware of the favors of Allah, and you are kafuran, you are operating in a way that those who deny God operate. You know what I mean? So anyway, I didn't know any of these things, I didn't know. I didn't know why I was going through, a life that was so problematic and difficult. I didn't know that I was unaware. Those who are unaware of Allah, theirs will be a depressed life. I didn't know that. I thought, well, go to the mosque and just do all these rituals and follow the guru and the pandit. I didn't know that what the Quran is telling us and what the gurus and the pandits are telling us, this is a different story. The Quran is encouraging humanity to allow awareness and to live with higher levels of awareness and experiencing in this world. The Quran is guiding us to not only physical health and hygiene, but spiritual health and hygiene. And the gurus are not telling us about the, halal and tayyib. And the gurus and the pandits are not following halal and tayyib. They're not eating food that is permissible and wholesome. Look at the state of their health. So if they can't see, and they can't act in a way that is in support of, I'm generalizing, I know that. But if they are not health conscious and they're not getting the message of health consciousness from the Quran and the Prophet, he was healthy and he would get on a horse and he would fight in the battles where people tried to destroy him and his people. He used to fight on a horse, wield the sword. He was fit, strong and healthy. The gurus and the pandits sitting pretty, not so pretty actually. Ugly, big, unhealthy, big bellies. That's not Islam, is that the sunnat? Somebody might say that's the sunnat. To have a big belly is the sunnat. That's not a sunnat. The Prophet used to fast very often. And he would curb his appetites. Go and see, about that sunnah. You won't hear about that sunnah from the people with the balconies, the people who have central obesity. It's obese. It's obesity. I'm not judging it. I'm only describing it. There are people who are obese. In the name of God and religion, they are physically out of shape. So what is their spiritual shape is the question. How cleansed are those hearts? How cleansed are those hearts? So if you're not really interested in your physical health and hygiene, if you're not interested in your, they say cleanliness is next to godliness, right? If you're not interested in your spiritual health and hygiene, you're not. You've got to be if you worship Satan, you definitely won't want the guidance of the Quran, that how to draw closer to Allah and purify your heart. You won't want that, right? And you won't want to live healthy physically and hygienically. You won't if you worship Satan. Only those who claim refuge with Allah, they will receive the guidance of the Quran. That's what the Quran says. Allah says in the Quran, before you read the Quran, say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan. Claim the refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. That Allah is our refuge. That we require refuge. Human beings, until we become believers, until we really submit, and even after we submit, you got to claim refuge with Allah. And the Quran tells us only those who are truly devout in the worship of Allah, Satan will have no authority. And Allah says that in the Quran, and Satan agrees. Over those whom, who are devout in your worship, I shall have no authority, Satan says in the Quran. Satan can't get through to those who are Allah aware and close to Allah, as much as he can get through to people that are not Allah aware. You see, when you're unaware of Allah and you're not secure, you feel very threatened and insecure. Satan can target you. Insecure people, that's what the Quran says, Satan threatens you with insecurity and causes you to behave in ways unseemly. It is Allah who extends His forgiveness to you. It is Allah who extends His bounties to you. See, Satan threatens you with insecurity. Who? The people who are not Allah aware. The Quran says plainly, eat halal and tayyib, beware of Satan who, tempts you. This is the very next verse. Eat halal and tayyib. Eat halal and tayyib. And be aware of Satan. Beware of Satan is an enemy avowed. Now, if the gurus and the pandits, they're reading that, and it says eat halal and tayyib, and it says immediately after that, beware of Satan, and they're hearing as they say, min. They're not hearing. It's telling you eat halal and tayyib, and the very next verse says, beware of Satan who will mislead you. So if the gurus and the pandits are not really health conscious, Satan has misled them. Those that are devout in the worship of Allah, Satan will have no authority. Do you understand? Those who are devout in the worship of Allah. So what does it tell you? If a man has got a big belly and he's telling you he eats halal, but in his actions he has no tayyib, he's not interested in his health, it tells you Satan got to him. That's one thing if it's somebody out there who knows nothing about anything. But now somebody says, but listen to me, I'll tell you what to read, when to read it, how many times to read it. It's hilarious if it wasn't so tragic. It's a farce of the highest proportions. The Quran is telling us, eat halal and tayyib. So the very next verse it says, beware Satan who will mislead you. And it also tells us those who are devout in the worship of Allah, Satan can't have authority. Now these people who tell us they have authority and they are telling us how to live, but they are clearly taken by Satan, according to what this verse is telling us. So, it shows you, is that the sunnah? That's not the sunnah. If you are aware of Allah, you see, comes back to Allah. When they're aware of what their gurus told them and what their gurus told them, and they're trying to keep the schooling going. Join us, we know, we just do this, we say this, we do that. We got a nice cult going on here. This is a religious identity. Follow us. We'll tell you what to do. But don't worry about what the Quran says and, about the Satan character and eat halal and tayyib. See, what I'm saying is people don't want to become Allah aware. See, when I became Allah aware, I wasn't the same person anymore. My heart wasn't diseased as much as it was. My heart is being cleansed. There's a peace in me that I can feel and experience and operate from. When you're not Allah aware, there's no security, there's no assurance, there's no peace there. And you operate from peacelessness, you operate from insecurity, and Satan just comes to you, left, right and center. The Quran says, Satan comes to you from all directions, up and down and left and right and sideways and always, diagonally, all directions. And he Satan stands on the path coming to you from all directions and rendering you kafuran. It's telling you, it's the Quran. Yeah, I know the gurus are not telling you this, but the Quran tells us this. Gurus got their own agendas from India. They're doing their own thing. I want to have nothing to do with that. I have everything to do with the Quran, the Prophet, Islam, Allah, of course. I claim refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed, who whispers into the hearts and minds of people, including the gurus and the pundits. Big shots walk the earth arrogantly. And Allah says, let those who believe, believe, let those who disbelieve, disbelieve. I'm not judging them. It doesn't matter to me. Quran says all we got to do is bring to Allah our own hearts. And I don't have anything against anybody. I'm not closing my heart. I'm not judging anybody. Allah's mercy is upon us and it's upon them too. If they would only become aware of Allah and His mercy, they would repent. They would have a change of heart. They would realize that they are malfunctioning, that they are living astray and they're guiding others, they're misguiding others. The Quran says there are many who say they believe in Allah in the last day. They say they are reformers, the Quran says. They say they are reformers. They are not reformers. You get what I mean? Reformers mean like helping human beings to get closer to Allah. They say they're reformers, they're not reformers. They say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they do not believe in Allah in the last day. They think they're fooling Allah and the believers, but they don't fool Allah. They only fool themselves. In their hearts is a disease. There's no peace, there's no security, there's no assurance. They're not coming from that level of security. They're not living beyond fear, threat. When guidance comes to you, no longer will you fear, no longer will you grieve. He's not talking about special, elite, spiritually elite. The Quran is saying when guidance comes to humanity, those who receive it, they will no longer fear and they will no longer grieve. It doesn't say the spiritual elites will no longer fear and no longer grieve. This is chapter 2. Surah Baqarah. Their hearts are diseased, they are astray and they're left astray. The disease is expanded, the Quran says. People who get fat get fatter and fatter, right? They expanded in their dis-ease, generally speaking. Obese leads to greater obesity, greater obesity. I'm not judging. I'm just describing. There's a very big difference. I'm saying become aware. Allah has given me a mind beyond the animal's mind. I can become aware. I can see clearly. Of course you must want to see clearly, otherwise you'll live unaware with Satan and you'll just carry on in your ways. All those who lie to themselves, the Quran says they're self-deceivers, they're hypocrites. Hypocrites are self-deceivers. They're not bad. They just lie to themselves. That means their hearts are diseased and just carrying on with that diseased heart. And with their own hands they destroy themselves. The Quran says that Satan is an enemy. He incites enmity between you and others. I don't want enmity between me and anybody. I just want truth to be spoken. I'm speaking truth from non-judgment. I'm not telling you anybody's bad or wrong. I'm just telling you Satan has misled people, and people that are misled are, trying to help others. But they don't know that they're misled and they're misleading others. Like today everybody's a life coach. Everybody is a counselor. They themselves require coaching and counseling, but they're giving counseling to others. They're not really humble before their Creator. They're not living functionally. They're malfunctioning. But now you're a counselor. I can help you. Listen to me. Who is the me that you must listen to? Is it listen to the believer, that I know nothing, Allah is the one because of whom we are, because of whom we continue to be, who has given us guidance? Should we not listen to truth? Should we not go back to truth? Who wants to become aware of truth? Who wants to see things clearly? You see? This is the solution. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim is the solution. I claim refuge with Allah means I want to become aware beyond my unawareness, my superstition, my ignorance, my arrogance, my foolishness. That is all the result of Satan's promptings and my following through with that. I choose higher. I was observing people, when I was in my life, early on in my life, and even now when I look back at the people that I used to join, all that darkness, it's all to remain unconscious. You sin when you are unconscious. You don't sin. When you're aware of Allah, you don't sin. When you're really aware of Allah, you don't sin. Not because you're scared He's going to punish you, but because you feel peace and you feel secure and you don't need anything or anybody to change the way you feel. When you don't be Allah aware, when you're not Allah aware, it feels horrible. That guilt, that shame, that unworthiness. Now you need to eat food. Just eat to mask, food addict. Eating compulsively. Eat anything, everything, unconsciously. When you're aware of Allah, your heart experiences assurance. Your heart is being purified. You're coming from peace. Your behavior will be informed by your awareness. You can't talk to a person who is unaware, lost in their emotions, who is not aware of Allah. You can only reason with somebody who has a certain level of awareness. People who are unaware and they don't want to become aware, you can't reason with them. It's impossible. I learned it late on in my life. I'm still learning it actually. That you can't talk to most people. They are so Allah unaware and they're so not interested in Allah awareness. They're so in the diseased heart. I'm a business person. I got my job. I got my children. My children. I'm here to have children. I'm here to look after my children. I'm here to, see my children get married. I'm here for my children, for my grandchildren. I'm here. I want to give them a legacy. I want to leave money for them. I'm here to leave money for my children. So I'm going to spend my whole life working. You can have children, but you're not here to have children. You can get married, but you're not here to get married. You can run a business here. You can, write 10 books if you want. You can have an influence and impact in this world, but you're not here for that. You're here to cleanse your heart. All of us are insecure until guidance comes to us. Those who receive the guidance, we will no longer be insecure. We will no longer fear. We will no longer grieve. We will no longer harm ourselves and harm others. You get what I mean? We will no longer live in a way that is holding us back. So when you look at people's bad behavior, I've counseled a lot of people, right? I stopped counseling people. You can't tell them, don't do that, or that's bad or wrong, because they're doing that because they're unaware. They're unaware that they have every reason to feel good. They don't feel good. So they do things to avoid feeling bad. People eat because they don't want to feel lonely. They don't want to feel fearful. They don't want to feel shame and guilt. They want to feel soothed. They overeat. People overdo things. People behave badly because they're not remembering Allah and experiencing assurance. Now you can rush to a musalla and go up and down on it the whole day. But that doesn't mean you are remembering Allah. And that doesn't mean that you are having the miraj of the mu'min in your salah. See? Because it's the awareness of Allah. How many times I've heard people say when I'm reading my namaz, my mind is all over the place. Yeah, because you are not Allah aware. You haven't submitted your mind. You haven't submitted. So your mind, aka your identity, is busy. Salah zikr, all spiritual practices are there to let go. Even going for Hajj, you leave your home, you leave everybody, your children, unless you're taking them with you, and you leave your clothes. Well, what do you mean, you leave your clothes? Well, when you go for Hajj, you wear the ihram. That means you don't have your colorful outfits and things that you can afford. When you go there, it's just white cloth. You leave your style behind. You leave your identity behind. So all spiritual practices are really about humility, right? If you want to become aware, they're all about humility. And if you're not humble, you'll malfunction. And so people are on the prayer mat, they're reading this and reading that, and they're reciting the Quran, but they have little or no awareness of Allah. There's no release of that phantom identity, and there's no experience of the real identity. What I am is, who I am is. First is my relationship with my Creator. That I am with a diseased heart. I require refuge with Allah. I can't trust my mind. Look at my behaviors. So when you look at your own and other people's behaviors, when you look at your own mentality, your own attitudes, when you're negative, when you're angry, when you're upset, when you behave in ways that hurt you, hurt others, when you behave in unloving, uncaring ways towards you, when you can't even be still and become aware of Allah and recognize His greatness and graciousness, and you can't even be thankful, but you're just saying words and you're doing things, that means you haven't submitted. You're not in the real self. You're not in the aware and experiencing self. You can't see. But you can't see Allah. You're just in a spiritual practice is to release that identity and that role, that sense of separation and that specialness about you and the world. But when you don't release that, then the world controls you. You feel controlled by the world. You get very angry and upset. Whatever's going on. And you try and change people and things, and you overreact. I was there. Things of the world will have power over you. You'll be like things like cigarettes is not food, right? If somebody never smokes a cigarette in their life, it makes no difference. But you end up like needing that cigarette like it's food. You become so perverted that the things that have no power and they're not good for you, you can't stop craving them. I mean, how perverted is that? Again, I'm not judging and blaming. When people do things that are sins, they are in a state of perversion. Why? Because that is a diseased heart. And at the root of the diseased heart is what? The failure to remember Allah. And so people, they don't want to have intention. I intend to be more Allah aware. Oh, I'm very Allah aware. I read all my salah. In the meantime, your mind is all over the shore. I do this and I do that the Guru said I must do. In the meantime, there's no humility, there's no awareness, there's no security, there's no assurance. The heart is diseased. That's where you sin from. All sins come from a diseased heart. No sin comes from a peaceful heart. No sin comes from security and experience of security. No sin. Satan can get you only when you are feeling threatened and vulnerable. When you're unaware of who you are, where you are, who your Creator is to, how loved you are by your Creator. As a man who is aware, I can tell you nobody can love me, not my parents and not my children, not my siblings, not a spouse. No human being can, not my students, no human being can love me. As a man who is aware of Allah, I can tell you only Allah loves all of us. Because look, we are, and we have guidance, and we can be aware of Him, and look at, we're the highest life form on the planet. So, because I can experience the compassion of Allah, the mercy of Allah, as a believer. I can feel assured and reassured that I have Allah to protect me, progress me, and prosper me. I can feel assured that Allah gave me His Spirit. I can experience being compassionate and merciful and kind and generous. I have never been more generous with me and other people in my life like I am now. I wasn't trying to act generous. I'm not acting generous. I can feel that the more I become aware of Allah's generosity and kindness to humanity. I mean, there's a verse of the Quran that says that Allah is to all. I'll read it to you. I said I must remember to read this to you. Indeed, Allah is to the people kind and merciful. Not just to the Muslims. Indeed, Allah is to the people, to humanity, kind and merciful. When you are aware of Allah and His kindness and His mercy and His generosity, and you just feel so blessed. You feel peace. That no, but my parents can't give me an inheritance. My children can't give me that kind of love. No spouse is going to be there for me the way Allah is there for me. Allah is the only actual, the real. And His kindness is the only real kindness. There's no kindness of human beings. Do you understand? There's only the kindness of Allah. That He gave us His Spirit that we can experience being kind. Only a person who is aware of Allah's kindness can be kind. Only a person aware of Allah's mercy can be merciful. Only a person who is aware of Allah's generosity can be generous. I am telling you these things from real life lived experience that I never read in a book and no guru told me. I'm telling you things only a person who is Allah aware is aware of and experiences, and I can describe it to you. It's unimaginable. My generosity. I'm not saying I'm the most generous man in the world, but from how selfish I was with myself and with others, I'm like, here you go, here you go, here you go. It's fine, here you go. And you know what? The more I'm giving, the more Allah will give me. Because I've been so generous with my wisdom for, whatever you give generously, you'll always get more of. If you're claiming you don't have something in your life, it's because you haven't been giving it generously to yourself and to others. And you can't give it generously until you become aware of Allah's generosity. If you're complaining your parents are not generous or loving or kind, or your children are not generous, loving or kind, if you're complaining that your spouse is not generous, loving or kind, or your boss is not generous, loving, or the president or whoever is not, if that bothers you, you don't know the kindness of Allah. The more you become aware of Allah, the less you get attached to this world and people and how they are. When you become aware of Allah, and how Allah is, you start focusing less on people and how they are. You focus on how Allah is to you and you're happy with Allah, and you focus on how you can be with you and how you can be with others. This is what a purified heart looks like in real life. From a man whose heart is being purified. I can tell you that no guru has told me this. No pundit has told me. This is the guidance of the Quran. If you believe in Allah, He'll guide your heart. And this heart has been guided, cleansed more and more. Not completely. I've still got work to do. I'm just enjoying these lovely surprises that I never knew, unimaginable surprises in me. Wow. I'm transforming. I'm reforming too. Woohoo! Bring to Allah a purified heart. You know what I mean? So last week I said to you, I will tell you a little bit more about, Allah's kindness that I can see. Because I'm aware. Before I was unaware, but now I'm aware. And I'm telling you at the body level, Allah has caused us to be, and He continues us. Not our parents, not our bosses, not money, not our children. Allah has given us an existence. We were not, and He gave us an existence, and He continues us. We are caused and continued. And you can experience relaxation. You can relax. As they say, chillax. You can relax. You are His creation in His care. He spins the earth. If your mother says, I don't care for you, I'm not going to spin the earth, you say, shukr to Allah. Allah spins the earth. If your son or daughter says, you know what, I'm sitting at home and I'm just going to waste my time here, say fine. Allah spins the earth on the axis. If you like, I'm tired, I need some sleep, fine. Allah spins the earth on the axis. Allah keeps life. Allah gave me life and Allah continues my life. Not me, not anybody else. And Allah not only gave me life as a human being, that I can experience life as a believing human being. And He gave us humanity. I mean, plants have life, it's a type of life. Animals have life, it's a type of life. But Allah gave us a type of life. Trees might say, Allah gives us life and existence and continues our existence. Allah spins the earth. Allah causes the sun to be in the sky, rise and set from our perspective. The trees will say, it's not the human beings that are radiating, light energy onto our leaves and nourishing us and, for our leaves to grow. It's not human beings, it's Allah. So we can say like we exist like the trees exist, and we are continued by Allah and the trees are continued by Allah. But we have been given reason. And we have been given the ability to become aware and experience assurance and feel the peace and live from the peace without being a target, easy target for Satan. And from that peace we don't have to harm ourselves, our bodies, our lives and others. Animals, they can say, look, we've been given life by Allah and Allah continues us, but they can't feel the peace. They are animals, right? They're controlled by instinct and impulse. We don't have to behave like animals. When you're at peace, you don't have to behave like an animal. So there'll be an instinct in you to hurt somebody, harm somebody, get angry. But from the peace, you'll say, I choose to be merciful. Allah has given me His spirit. I choose to be godly. Allah is merciful. I choose to be merciful too. You get what I mean? But when you're not aware of Allah and His mercy, and you're not aware that He breathed His spirit into you, and you're not aware that you're the favored creation of Allah on earth, if you're unaware of that, I have the ability to reason, there's Quran guidance, there's a prophet to show us the way to actually be like, not just act like. Grow a beard, now you're like the prophet. Where's the balconies? And no tayyib food, where's the sunnah there? Where's the eating like the sunnah? Hypocrisy. It's okay, self-deception. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you so that you can become more aware, that you don't be fooled. You fool yourself. Satan fooling them will fool you. You'll be thinking, I'm following the Guru. And you don't know you're not following the Quran. You're not following the Prophet. That's why I'm telling you this. I'm not against the Guru and the Pandit. I'm for Islam, the Quran, Allah, the Prophet. I'm interested in cleansing our hearts. If you want to hear me, I got something to tell you. I can tell you from my own personal experiences that you can become happy that as a human being, that you're not only alive and you continued in your existence, but you're given the best of forms. Look at your body. Look at the animals and the insects. Look at us. Become aware is what I'm telling you. Do you want to become aware? If you are a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, you're a person who wants to become aware of Allah and His favors. If you are not into Allah awareness and His favors, that Satan stands in the path and he misleads you, renders you kafuran. So there are people who are kafuran, kuffar. They denying the favors of Allah because they deny Allah. They don't value the value of the Quran as guidance, the value of Quran telling us eat like this is good for you. Getting sick, miserable, living miserable lives on this planet. I said, no, it's from Allah. What a travesty. What a lie. Talking superstition fluently, thinking it's nothing but Islamism. That's all Islamism. When there's no remembrance of Allah, there's no assurance, there's no peace, there's no cleansing of the heart, there's picking and choosing from the verses of the Quran, there's telling people, I'm right, follow me. All that is Islamism. Become Allah aware. You can have that intention. Did the Guru tell you to have an intention to become Allah aware? Saying, no, listen to what I'm telling you. Behave like me. You got your beard? Got your beard very... What about that big belly, that central obesity? What about that? The beard is there, in the art of illusion, which is what, magic tricks is all about. Misdirection. Look at my beard, but there's a big belly there. Don't look at that. Look at my beard. Look at my beard. When you do magic tricks, you get, look here. In the meantime, you're doing something else somewhere else. So this is misdirection. Misdirection. Look here. Look at my beard. But what? Don't look at... There's no real sunnah anywhere else. So you can become aware. If you want to become aware, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. For those who want to become aware, Satan is an enemy avowed. We're all insecure until guidance comes to us. When you have guidance, you can become aware. With the awareness, you feel assurance. With the assurance, you feel the peace. With the peace, you can live in this world without harming yourself and other people. You can live in this world without letting Satan get to you. So you can look and see, look, we are alive, and we've been given ability to reason, a body in the best of molds. We can, the food that we eat, carrots. Yesterday I like salads, carrots. In there's nutrients. You don't have to eat sand to get the nutrients. Tasty lychees, foods, you know what I mean? And when you're eating it, there's nutrients. It's tasty, it's healthy, it's tayyib, it's healthy. Allah's mercy. Allah's mercy. Allah created the water palatable, he says. If He wanted, He could have created unpalatable. You'd think all this is happening by chance. It just happened by chance that what we require the most in terms of, drinking is water, and it's palatable, and it's available freely. You think by chance? Don't you see? Don't you see you have eyes to see in color? Don't you hear that you have hearing to hear? Don't you see? The Quran says, what has misled you, humanity? What has misled you? How is it? Allah is like, if you had a head, you'd be shaking it. What? How? How is it possible that with all the love of Allah, we can't see it? How? Because we worship Satan. Those who do, Shukr to Allah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah Almighty, who has guided us, given us the guidance that while we are alive, we can awaken and experience assurance. And we can no longer have diseased hearts where Satan just attacks, and we don't have to behave in ways that are trying to soothe us and react with obsession, compulsion, distraction, addiction. All these shins just means the person is unaware, and they're remaining unaware. People will continue to behave badly because they're unaware. See, they're unaware that there's only Allah, who alone is the actual, who is to be worshipped and praised, trusted in and thanked, to be invoked. People are unaware. I was one of them, but no longer. Shukr to Allah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah, who's guided us to the path of human excellence, who strengthens us along the path of human excellence. Those of us who are on the path, the straight path. His choicest blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.